Your bronze caches have been buffed in Mists of Pandaria Remix. If you're worried about having enough bronze to upgrade things, to get all the transmogs you want, get all the gear, well, it's going to be a little bit easier now. Yes, the amount of bronze you get from basically everything has been
brand too.
everything based on everything that we've seen here. 25% buff across the board for all bronze that's being yielded right now from different events. Whether you're doing world quests or just looting things off of different characters, well, yeah, you're going to get 25% more bronze than you were getting before. So don't worry about spending your bronze too much. It's a good idea to use it, especially if you're level 70, to buff your gear out and max out your levels. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. Mop Remix Hotfix. LFR now rewards a permanent experience boost. Now, this experience boost was being seen in Heroic. Now it's being offered in LFR as well. It's not as much. I believe Heroic is a 12% boost. And yeah, 12% boost for doing Heroic off of every boss. You can now get a perpetual thread of experience to attach to your cape, and that'll give you a 7% boost. So LFR is not necessarily going to be better than, doing Heroic, but it's going to be supplemental to it. So now if you want to level up just by raiding, you're going to be able to do your normal clears and then your LFR clear every day to get your experience up. Now, these are daily clears you'll be able to do, so that'll be a nice way to quickly power level if you just don't want to do it the same way you had done before in your other characters. How to gear up in Mists of Pandaria quickly. So you've hit level 70, you're ready to go. What are you supposed to do? Well, there are 4 specific things you need to get done to finish out your gearing. If you'll notice, while you're leveling up in Mists of Pandaria Remix, you're not going to get any jewelry or trinkets. So you're going to want to get those things once you hit cap level. And what do you got to do to get them? Well, first of all, by reaching level 70, you will get a Time Runner trinket, and then you can complete 3 of the 6 Faction War quest lines to get your Time Runner's Beacon trinket as well. After that, you're going to want to complete all Mists of Pandaria scenarios on Heroic difficulty, and complete all Mists of Pandaria dungeons on Heroic difficulty. That'll give you your 2 rings, and then last but not least, you're going to want to complete all Pandaria raids on normal difficulty to get your neck. So in summary, you want to reach level 70, complete all Heroic dungeons, complete all Heroic scenarios, and then complete all normal raids. That's how you're going to basically fill out your gear, and then it's time to start upgrading that gear. Now, when it comes to upgrading gear, have no fear. I know a lot of people have been kind of holding back, worrying, oh, should I upgrade this? You know, do I have to basically save my stuff for better gear that I'm going to get later on, or rare pieces of gear? The answer is no. Because once you've upgraded gear past, up to certain item levels, you basically unlock that item level at a discount. So gear that'll come later on, you'll be able to do it at a 95, up to a 95% discount. Once you've reached that item level with another piece of gear. So gearing out and then leveling up that gear is very important. It's basically the end game of Remix, and if you ever want to do Mythic, Siege of Orgrimmar, you're going to need to do that. So do it as soon as possible, and whatever gear you get after, it's going to be real cheap. Plus, we just said, you're getting that 25% buff on all bronze you're going to yield from the game now. So leveling up the gear is going to be very, very important. Threads of bronze farming is important. The way to do it used to be the frog farm. It's to be determined whether that's still going to be the case, because the frog farm has been nerfed into the ground. Yes, sad, sad times for a lot of people, because some people are really digging into that frog farm, but it is now gone. Yeah, it's not completely gone, but the buff from it is gone. Blizzard has nerfed the frog farm, preventing frogs from dropping lesser charms, while continuing to drop bronze and gems, which is good. The farm is no longer as lucrative as it once was. While the frogs drop bronze directly, lesser charms could be turned into massively increase the amount of bronze earned from the farm. With this change, the frogs can still be farmed to easily generate bronze and gems without moving from one spot, but the actual amounts earned will be far less. So you can no longer just be a complete degenerate like Moishi was doing all weekend, standing in one spot, just clicking shit and getting a ton of bronze. It's gone. Yeah, they should at least make the upgrades cheaper to do instead of buffing the bronze drop rate. Well, it is cheaper. It's cheaper once you've done it once, Egg. So it's not cheaper, in that initial point. But once you buff through the gear one time, it's going to be cheaper, 95% cheaper every time after that. Yeah. So people who benefited from it before doing it, they exploited it. Yep, that happens. That's WoW. It's part of playing a live game. Yes, people who benefited from it, unfortunately, they're going to keep that benefit. Again, this remix event, there's no real end game to it. right? This is really about leveling alts for the next expansion. And Blizzard's not going to go back and retroactively change this. It's not a big deal. It's not going to affect Endgame. It's not going to affect the War Within. It's just, something. It is what it is. So you're just going to have to deal with it. If you didn't get it done over the weekend, you missed out on your chance. And if you did, well, finally, being a degenerate has truly paid off for you. Congratulations. Moving on to some other news. Some fun stuff. If you have the Stormcar, the Warbreaker, this weapon is a Legion artifact, transmog. Well, a little bit of Mists of Pandaria fun. This thing has always feared trolls. If you don't know the history of this weapon, it's got a badass history. It actually belonged to a legend of humanity, I should say, King Thoradin. Yeah, so King Thoradin had this sword. He fought in the Troll Wars with this sword. It's a badass sword that he used to kill many trolls, and trolls are afraid of it. Whether or not you actually have it equipped or transmogged, they run in fear. Well, a little bit has been added on top of that. Not only do regular trolls run in fear, but if you are in the raid, the actual trolls within the raid also are feared. So this is just a fun little thing that they added in Remix. That basically you can run around and all trolls, whether elite mobs, anything else, will run in fear at the very sight of you. Yes, so it's a pretty cool little thing. If you haven't done it already and you have this transmog, go ahead and equip it and watch how it changes the game for you. That's kind of cool. Just one of those little fun facts coming out of Mists of Pandaria Remix as well. Moving on to some other news. We saw a interview with Morgan Day from the very Mr. GM. And he revealed some interesting stuff, including the Keystone Master mount that we'll talk about here in a second. But in terms of Dragonflight, he just kind of summed it up by talking about dragon riding a little bit and how, they introduced it in the game. And Dragonflight was the first expansion that didn't really give you any new in-game systems like covenants, artifacts, or garrisons. But they wanted to use Dragonflight to basically rebuild the foundation of the game, so that way the next couple expansions can build on top of that. And I think Dragonflight did a good job of that. I feel like overall, Mythic Plus is in a good spot. Rating is in a good spot, except for Mythic. Whatever Mythic is, it's still a thing, but I've had problems with it. Anyways, I feel like Dragonflight has built a nice little foundation for the game going forward, so that's good to see. Mop Remix, in terms of whether it's going to go forward in other forms or not, basically, Morgan said it depends on how the community reacts to it. Yeah, community reception is important right now. So if you like Mop Remix, make sure you let Blizzard know. Play it all the time. Do those things. They said they really just wanted it to be a thing where it's used to level up alts going into the next expansion. And that's all they really want it to be. Whether or not they do it going forward, again, is going to depend on community feedback and stuff like that. But he did say they have a huge backlog of old content that they want to use. So why not? It could happen again. I would love to see, Wrath Remix. That would be something fun for me to see. But whether or not they continue to do it, he said they're not committed to it. They're going to see what they want to do, and they're always looking for new things to do. So maybe it's another remix event, or maybe it's something else. As far as the War Within goes, yes, it is confirmed. The Keystone Master mount will be skyriding capable, so it will be a dragon riding mount, and the Season 1 reward will be the Earthen Mech from the Ringing Deeps. Yes, so this bad boy right here, we don't know exactly what the colorway is going to be yet, but we do know it is going to be this, so that's freaking badass. I'll be going for it. I freaking love it. This is a very cool looking Keystone Master mount. In terms of like Dragonflight, it was very underwhelming. We had that little freaking rideable, unflyable Dragon Boy thing, and it was alright. This was great. Shadowlands Remix, Jesus. This is a very cool mount. We'll see what the actual one looks like in the end. But overall, a glorious looking mount as they sing Gloria here in the background. And I actually can't wait to get in. Having a nice Keystone mount is always a good idea. Cross-realm guilds will be able to complete work orders in the War Within as well. So they continue to push forward, having guilds that are cross-faction, cross-realm, everything, whatever you want to say, cross-gender. Who knows? But guilds going forward basically are going to be unhinged and accessible to everybody. So if you want to form a big guild across a bunch of servers, it's becoming more and more viable to do so. And the giant crystal in Halifal has become a big topic of conversation. It was also brought up in this interview. He said that it will change, and not based on day or night times, and not really based on anything else. The Halifal crystal will just change from shadow to light. It'll change things in the zone, including things like the mobs that you find in the zone, the quests that you find in the zone, all kinds of stuff. So this is not just an aesthetic thing, but this is going to be a game mechanic. Yes, so everybody's very excited about Halifal, including myself. Probably the coolest zone going forward, and I actually can't wait to get in here and play this dynamically changing, sexy, beautiful, lore-infused zone. Oh my god. Yeah, just take me to Hallowfall now. I freaking can't wait.